question to Dr. Akif. Whether, if, of course, Erdogan has the win now or the momentum to win the elections, but how, if in case he loses, how this will impact the foreign policy and the relations with the outside world? Dr. Akif, if you want to comment on this. And we're going to wrap it up also.
Yeah, well, it is one of the claims of the opposition parties that if they win, there will be money pouring into Turkey. That's one of their claims. In what format, it's not clear or clarified yet. I'm sure there will be no free money. The situation is obvious all around the world, and there will be some interest even if the money comes. That's one thing. Regarding the foreign policy thing, I think there are certain things that if opposition wins, they can change, and there are certain others they cannot change. For instance, the policies regarding the security of Turkey, especially in south and northern borders, regarding Syria, regarding Iraq, regarding Turkey's interest in Azerbaijan and supporting Azerbaijan. There might be some lightening up on certain issues, but I think the security is at prime importance for Turkish population. I don't think there will be some compromise there. But regarding perhaps Turkey's engagement with Russia, there might be some distances. I'm certainly expecting that. What will happen with NATO and or with Greece, and or what would be potential opposition rule policy towards the Eastern Mediterranean? I don't think certain things are going to change, but even when the Justice and Development Party was very close with the European Union and the West, we didn't get much on that front. So I don't think, they are hopeful, but I don't think the attitudes of certain countries essentially might change towards Turkey. They might ease up, at least in a discursive level. I don't think essential policies may not necessarily change. But Turkey is going to make, perhaps in another government, make more distance, put more distance with Russia. That's for sure. But when they realize why the current government at least had to engage with Russia because of the problems in Syria, because of the Ukraine crisis, because of energy dependency of Turkey. We import more than 95% of our energy. So I think they will realize that there is a limit for in foreign policy what they can do or what they cannot do.
Yes, thank you very much. Of course, the opposition has two major maybe topics to use against the government. One is the economy, the other one is the refugees. Of course, refugees is a more psychological and kind of exaggerated issue, but it is affecting the public opinion with these media campaigns, etc. Practically, of course, there is a discussion, to send them back, but it is not very easy to send them back. Because nobody, not only Turkey, there are millions of refugees in Lebanon and in Jordan, and even like Lebanon, they sent some refugees by force, and the Assad regime either put them in jail or if they are a young man, they send them to the military service or to the war zones, etc. And the economy is awful in the Assad-controlled areas, and nobody is going, not only from Turkey. Of course, refugees in Turkey are a lot more better off than the ones in Lebanon and in Jordan. So the refugees will not go voluntarily. And to force them, you have to make some kind of a deal or a kind of better adjustment with not the Assad regime, but the reconstruction of Syria. I think with the Ukraine war and everything, nobody is willing to reconstruct Syria. That's one of the maybe reasons why the Syrian problem, Syrian crisis did not push forward for solution. The Geneva process was stopped because nobody wants to pay for the reconstruction. So this way looks like better for Iran, for Russia, for America and Europe. And when they make a solution, political solution, they have to offer. The Assad regime also is happy with the current situation, because they have to offer something. Now they say there is a war and everything is frozen, but so it is a hard business. Plus, because the refugees cannot go to Syria if the opposition wins, they have to go to the West. And of course, they are more closer to the West than the AK Party. So the West will say, don't pressure them to these guys, not to make, waves of immigration and people smuggling, etc. So I don't think it's going to affect too much. Maybe affect psychologically, but not much, I think. Even like this issue is used for elections. After the elections, this issue will be a lesser problem. It will not be in the agenda that much because the refugees mostly are working their lives and not posing a serious problem. Even they are contributing in the economy, etc. This is more psychological and political issue. I think will be less important after the elections. So we have a couple of questions. Let's wrap it up with the last questions. And Ibrahim Bey and Bora Bey especially, there are questions on the website that on the account people ask. Either one of you can answer this. How would you read the negative views of young generation? This one issue, the young generation is a little bit leaning toward the opposition than to Erdogan. He's asking this in artificial intelligence and media campaign, are they playing a role? I think Mr. Bora, Dr. Bora, you can answer this one, especially how, sociologically young generation plus the role of media and social media.
I mean, if we say all the young people are pro government or pro opposition, it would be wrong, because from different part of the society, they are also like the adults or more mature people. Their political stand also change. If you go to maybe some certain cities, you will see more support for the government among the youth, and maybe in cities or in districts like, Kadıköy, let's say, people may be leaning to opposition. So it depends on the all people are their own opinion. So I am against that kind of generalization. So we will see. Maybe, of course, their understanding of the world is far different from ours. They didn't experience, for example, coalition government times. For example, many people talk about the situation of the press freedom in Turkey. I was a journalist in 1990s, and I remember how the military was controlling the media, the narrative. So you had only maybe the state TV at that times. Then we had some private TVs, and their way of seeing things were different, maybe most of the society. Now I think the situation is more diverse. We have more different opinions presented to us. Of course, the mainstream media collapsed in all around the world. So you have different hundreds of networks having different ideas. So I think the situation in general with the social media and other means of communication makes things more complex, but at the same time more accessible for many people. So it's difficult to make predictions from today who will vote to which leader or which party. I think the best judge in this case will be the elections itself. This is one thing. And another thing, you were talking about Syria and other immigration issues and other stuff. So for our generation, it is easier to make comparisons. For them, they are born to this situation, and for them, it is maybe more difficult to understand. And it is easy to make judgments from today about the past decisions. So this is very important, I believe. If we knew that the World Cup was going to be won by the Argentina and Messi, maybe if we play for gambling, bets, other stuff, we would be rich. But we didn't know it. So from today, we can look at the previous events, the Syrian policy, what happened at that time, what kind of decisions were taken. It is easy to make judgment, and it is easy to blame leaders in the decisions, about the decisions. But we have to consider everything in their context and in their time. So we have this opportunity to make comparisons, but young people, especially new voters, probably they will be only looking at the situation, and they will try to make judgment under the communication environment, which is very difficult to make rational judgment because of the fake news and manipulations and other stuff. It's really difficult. But I think, we will see what will happen in the elections. But I don't think it's right to make generalization of the way people think, because when you go into the ballot box, it's the moment of truth. So you hear many things.
Definitely,
Yeah, you
yes.
hear many things. You are under pressure, but at that moment, you are on your own with your self-consciousness. And so far, Turkish society, Turkish people, when I say Turkish, I include all the citizens of Turkey, Kurdish and everybody. I think they have a very good way of judging things. And personally, I believe in our nation with all its components.
Yes, thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.
Because Turkish people suffered so much to reach to this level of democracy. Of course, they want better, but they won't sacrifice what they gained, what they have in their hand. And